Hello class and welcome to video 1. Today we're going to talk about the present perfect and actually the present perfect progressive. But let's start with present perfect. So we're starting with the present perfect. Okay, question number 1. What is the present perfect? Very good question. Okay, the present perfect is a grammatical structure that we put in a sentence. I'm sorry. The present perfect is a grammatical sentence structure that is formed by using the auxiliary verb has or have and the past participle. When we do present perfect, it's a combination of talking about a past event, which we express by saying perfect, and having an effect or a consequence in the present. So it's a mix of the present and the perfect, or the present and the past. Okay? Now, this diagram shows you what present perfect looks like. Present perfect looks like this is now, this was the past, and I don't know, have read. So I've read this book before. It means it's a completed action some point in the past. There's a completed action at some point in the past. So I have read a book, okay, before. It's over, okay? But it has an effect on now. So maybe I'm asking you, have you read Shakespeare? Because we're gonna deal with Shakespeare in class. And you can say, yes, I have read that book before. So it has some kind of bearing on the present, but it's a completed action. Now, generally, the present perfect shows that something is permanent, so it will not change. But what do you do if you want to talk about something that's not permanent, okay? That happened at some point in the past. It's temporary, but it has an effect on the present as well. Well, then we will use present perfect progressive. And progressive is usually, it's the base form plus ing, and progressive shows something that is continuing on. So the diagram for progressive would look something like this. Let's show you in blue. Starts somewhere in the past, loops on to the present, and, maybe it is going to continue into the future. So this would be have been reading. So I have read means that it's finished, it's a permanent, it's a fixed point. Have been reading means it's still happening. I started at some point in the past, which is not the focus, but I'm still doing it now, and perhaps I will continue into the future. Okay? Now, let's talk about the formula for both of these. For the present perfect, your formula is going to be subject, have, plus participle with the optional sense of for. Your example, they have lived here for many years. So here, they is your subject, have, lived is your past participle. Here for many years. Okay? Another example, we usually do not put I have, we make a contraction. So I've read this book before. You have your have right here, your participle, and whatever complement. Another example, Dr. Owen has written. So we say has because this is third person. Okay? He. He has written many articles. Okay? That's your participle. She's. Notice the contraction here. It's very important that you notice that the same contraction is for she is the same contraction we use for she has. All right? Context will tell you if this is S is for is or if it's for has. So she's worked in Kenya before. So if you have the S and a participle, we know that it is present perfect. So these are examples of how we would use the present perfect. And all these examples mean that the action is completed, but it has some consequence on the future. So they lived here for many years, but they don't live there anymore. Okay? I've read this book before. I'm no longer reading this book. Dr. Owen has written many articles. He is not writing them right now. She's worked in Kenya before. She does not work in Kenya anymore. And I must change this for many years because this actually doesn't mean it's completed. They have lived here before. Now, the second formula is for your present perfect progressive. So I want to talk about something that started in the past that has a consequence or an effect on the present that I'm still doing. Okay? So I would have to put subject, have, and if you make it a negative, it's have not, okay? So it would be they haven't lived. But subject, have, participle, base verb plus ing, and an optional sense of for. We have some examples over here. They have been living. So that's your construction. Have been living here for many years. They have been living here for many years. I've been reading this book since Monday. Dr. Owen has been writing articles since 2000. She's been working in Kenya for a year. Okay? Look, they have been living here for many years. They are still living here right now. This construction means they haven't went anywhere. I've been reading this book since Monday. I'm still reading it right now. Dr. Owen has been writing articles since 2000. He's still writing. She's been working in Kenya for a year. She's still working in Kenya. So that's the difference between the present perfect on this side and the present perfect progressive on this side. One side is permanent, it's finished, it's done, it just has some kind of effect on the present. The other side is not done. It started in the past and it still continues until now, and maybe it will continue on in the future. We don't know. But the point is that it's temporal and this is permanent. We generally speak with contractions when we use the present perfect. So we don't say they have lived here, they've lived here. Okay? So you can compare both of these. You know, I've been reading this book since Monday versus I've read this book before. Or Dr. Owen has been writing articles since 2000 versus Dr. Owen has written many articles. So one, he's still doing it, one, he has finished. Alrighty. Let's talk about your homework. Today, we only dealt with statements. Okay? These are statements for the present perfect progressive and the present perfect. I didn't really highlight a negative statement. The only difference with negative statements is you say they have not lived or they haven't lived here before. Okay, so the only difference is after the have, you put the not if you wanted a negative statement. So we only study statements today. We will study your WH questions and your yes-no questions and the proper response to those questions tomorrow. Okay, so let me tell you what I want you to do for homework. Make sure you do your homework and bring it to class. We will use the homework in class tomorrow. Okay, look at your verbs on page A1 in your book. Okay, these are participles. Well, actually, they're irregular verbs. You're going to see the regular verb in the past tense, and you're going to see you're going to see the verb in its base form, then you're going to see it in the past tense, and then you're going to see the participle. So this is going to find some participles. For regular verbs, you don't need a list because the participle of a regular verb is the past tense form. So therefore, your participle for play is played. Okay? But write is irregular. So the past tense for write is wrote. Okay? And the past participle is written. So there's a difference. So anyway, look on page A1 in your book. You'll get some participles. I want you to write 3 present perfect sentences. So 3 sentences using this form, which talks about something being completed in the past. You're going to write 3 of those. Examples. I have read 3 interesting books. Oh, but it needs to be about you, okay? Or someone you know. So I have read 3 interesting books. I have eaten a whole cow, which this is not true, okay? Try to stick with something that's fascinating or interesting about you. I knew someone who'd eaten a whole cow, at least that's what he said. I have sat on a crocodile. That's true. I really did do that, all right? So you want to have something that's interesting about you, a hobby, just something that you could really talk about, the experience, but you need 3 of those sentences. When you finish writing 3 sentences in the present perfect, you need to write 3 present perfect progressive sentences. So they would follow this formula. And it would be something temporal, something that you started sometime in the past and that you continue to do today. Okay? For example, I have been organizing my closet for a week. Or I have been teaching for over 16 years. Bring them to class tomorrow. You will use them tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Happy learning.